What's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. You're watching us from YouTube. Do comment, like, share, and subscribe, and do share the show with your friends and whom you think would enjoy some truth we are sharing here. So help us grow the community. And yeah, the first 50 people who's gonna be like regular viewers on our channel would be made a moderator. So make sure you guys invite more friends. And if you are watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rts.video, yes, rts.com, rts.video is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis podcast and most of our coming productions. So make sure you guys check out rts.video. It's the shortest link. A big shout out to Marcio David for making that platform really comfortable for new users, because amazing to have some alternative other than YouTube to share, because of all the censorship and all the shadow banning on all the usual social media platforms. So it's great to have rts.video. And yes, today's topic, the Greek cosmology, an amazing and interesting one too. Let's jump in with our co-host and our panelist. My first co-host, Gene. Gene, how are you, brother?
Hey, Vika, I'm doing awesome today. Very excited to be here for another edition of the Cosmology series we're doing. This is going to be very interesting. I'm not sure where this one's going to go, guys, but this is going to be jam-packed full of really cool, great information. Hope you all enjoy it. And thanks for being here, everybody, on the panel. Hi, everyone. And in the chat, it's really great to see everybody back again. And if you're here for the first time, welcome and have fun. This is, Heliopsychosis is the name of the show we have here. And Helios was the Greek god of the sun, drove a chariot across the sky. And heliopsychosis is basically the madness that has ensued inside people because we don't travel in a solar system. We're sitting here, and we've always been sitting here, and everything travels around us. And this is what we're trying to help explain to everybody, and have everybody explain to us as well, because none of us have all the answers, but we have a lot of good questions here. And it's great to have you all. It really is, guys. Thanks for being here. Hey, Vika, thank you too, bro. That's twice now. I'm sorry. I forgot to say thank you for inviting me to Fern Flat Earth Research Network page on Facebook. And I'm a proud member of the team over there right now, brother. Thank you very much, man. Very cool. I felt like a kid on Christmas Day when I got that invite.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. Yeah, it's for our listeners to know that we have, apart from all our groups, we have also chat, and people can join the World Flat Earth Association chat. Is already full. Even the own members and even some moderators and admin cannot get in, because the way their Facebook is working, that it says is not available in some zone, and for some people, what is that crap, And the other thing is that, for example, the World Flat Earth Association group have more than 55,000 people, right? And the chat they allow is maximum 1,000 people, and that chat gets filled in a day, 1,000 people. So we have to make 55 chats for all the people, right? So we don't understand how the Facebook is working with this chat thing, right? And the way it's not letting some people join, right? So, and then we also have for the Fern and Flatten the Curve chat group too. So, oh yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm back. Oh.
Okay. Okay, and yeah, our next panelist is Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, how are you guys? I'm doing good. Glad to be back here. And yeah, Greek mythology, cosmology. Wow. Who hasn't heard of Zeus and of Kronos, Pandora's box, So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think for today, our final panelist is gonna be. It's the first time she's here. She's also our supporter in our chat groups, and yeah, she also have some amazing inputs on different aspects of things what we discuss here. So we thought of inviting her. So Stephanie, welcome Stephanie Campbell. Please tell us about yourself and where are you located and about yourself, Flat Earth or whatever you want to add.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm from Maine in the United States, which is in the woods, very close to Canada. So I don't really, I get stuff like 5 years after everybody else in the United States. So that's probably a good thing. I actually started looking into the flat Earth in about 2015. There wasn't much to choose from. But I happened to notice you and like a group of people making a different kind of movie just a couple years ago before it came out, and that really took the flat Earth movement in a different direction. I think instead of people just saying, "Hey, we can see Father," and this and that, you had actual pilots, and it reached a lot more people, I think. So I thought that was just excellent, and I am happy to be a part of this and just thrilled that you asked me here, especially for this one, because I believe Greek is when they started saying that we went around the sun, or the sun was bigger and it didn't move. So interesting.
Yeah, that was Aristarchus in
Right.
about 300 BC. He was the first to suggest it. And since there was no parallax, they couldn't find parallax in the stars, meaning the stars never changed position. They rejected it. So they had to go. They sent them back to the drawing board.
Oh yeah, so it's great to have you, Stephanie. Yeah, definitely Flatten the Curve was had an amazing impact, and still people use it. So that's good. It's waking up lots of people. Even today I shared a message from somebody that said that when you watch Flatten the Curve, you become a believer, no matter how you are. So that's great. That team effort just paid really well. For everybody, there's something for real serious people, more than the entertainment option of the general thing that everybody knows and everybody just says it. So it was the same thing. There comes a time when people, it's just enough with the same information going around. So there had to be some initiative to change the way the information is relayed, and the real information that's there in Flatten the Curve. So it was put out in a more simple way that the people could understand. So yeah, so that's really awesome. Yeah, and the Greeks, there's so much disinformation about the Greeks all over, because these people because the Greeks had a lot of influence in the West, right, during that epoch, right, in construction, in astronomy, in astrology, and many different technology, we could say, right. So it influenced a lot, and including the religion part too, right. If we speak about all the planets or luminaries and the names of the gods, and it's very, it's been used even today, the whole, if we go according to the months and the days and the weeks, and it's just so ingrained in humanity. So it's a very important part of cosmology, where the controllers and the don't want us to know the real story of the Greeks. They wanna put a lot of misinformation right there because they are playing with different models between themselves, right?
Oh, they really are. It's difficult to find a straight line in this area in the Greek cosmology. A few versions. And it's so vast. Also, there's so many names, so many details.
The celestial sphere, that was something too. Like everything was bolted in on a track or something. That was interesting.
Oh yeah. So just for our viewer to know, we are not pushing any particular religion or faith. All this is only for research and investigation purpose only. So, and also the idea of knowing their creation story to help us directly also understand what they thought their world was. To start with, the most important thing is the Greeks, they knew that everything has a cause. Okay, so if the mainstream science wanted to say that the Big Bang just happened out of nothing, for the Greeks it didn't make sense even before, if somebody would have thought that the world would have started like this. So the most important concept was that the reason the earth or the universe is formed because somebody created. That in itself, it says a lot about their cosmology, right? That is, for them, it was the center of the universe, right? Because it was also a creation. They were very perfectionist.
No, you're right, Vika. Even though they weren't sure exactly how to explain it, and it's a really interesting creation story. But it was a creation. It wasn't just emptiness and nothingness, and all of a sudden everything. It was nothing like Big Bang Theory. Nothing like it. None of them are.
Exactly. Because the Greek cosmology is like wide and decept the universe and the world as having a limit, both on its sky and the ground. The sky limit is known as heaven of heavens, and its opposite end, which lies beneath all the world, is the underworld. That's the most basic definition of Greek cosmology, right? What does it mean?
Right.
The most of the images everybody shares saying that is the biblical representation of the flat earth with the dome above and the shovel. That's actually the real Greek model, flat earth model.
Oh, really?
Exactly. It's just a variation of what's been used in Bible.
Well, they all seem to be variations of each other, bro. All of them, just slightly expanded. Some are bigger. Some have just got more details and more names.
Changed the names and stuff. Yeah.
Right. I think one of the bigger issues is the timeline. Because of this, I think they jammed the timeline up and spread these people out further apart than they really were, possibly. Just a thought, though. I don't really know, but because I don't believe the narrative, so questioning all of it. If they spread the time out, I just have to question it.
Or a lot of people could be the same people with different names.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So this timeline gets shortened right there.
Right.
It can't be that big of a timeline if it's 5. So if there's 20 cosmologies, and there's only like 2 to choose from, and there's 10 variations of it. So how much time is really involved? You know?
Is
But
the
Oh,
Greek one that starts with chaos and then
yes,
splits to like Gaia? Yeah, okay.
yeah,
and like many other ones starts in the abyss or in the void or in the primordial sea, so it's the
right.
same concept.
Yep. Exactly.
So for them, earth and above, no, like earth is known as Midgarar, like earth is a central realm, place, or location in Greek cosmologies, being the middle point between the heavens, inhabited by the Olympian gods and the underworld. Then they have the firmament with the star, location in which stars, the sun, the luminaries, and the constellations are located. Then you have the ocean of heaven, created and ruled by the Titans, Oceanus, and Thytes.
Yeah, the water.
It's a great river encircling the earth, which was believed to be a flat circle. Oh, yeah, exactly, right?
Hey, that sounds like an ice wall that's not frozen.
Exactly.
Maybe, right? Or maybe, like we say, most of the time we talk about Antarctica, thoughts are concentrated down near Argentina, down there. You forget the rest of the 320 degrees of the circle that we just kind of presume is ice, right?
True.
But I did notice that before with the circle of water, and it raised the flag for me.
It makes more sense, right? A river encircling the earth, which was believed to be flat circle, because it's more obvious the river is going around in circle, or it's round, or it's flat.
Right.
In
Well, if
simple
it was a
words
big
like this,
circle,
yeah,
if it
yep,
was
go
a
ahead.
big circle, how would it flow? It'd have to go uphill, and then what? How would it go downhill and then back uphill to flow back down? Unless it was wobbling or something. You know what I mean? How would it just flow if it was a circle? How would it be uphill?
Oh, yeah. So there are many, many points like these where there is contradiction to what
Yeah.
really the Greeks were saying and what these people have perceived and made their own crap out of it.
Well, they stuck to parts of the story, it seems, right? And they twist them up and make them backwards and unrecognizable, mostly.
So in these oceans was inhabited by nymphs known as the Oceanids, which were Oceanus and Thyte's daughter, and the gods of all the streams on earth were their sons. Then heavens of heaven, the highest location in Greek cosmology. Then you have the pillars of heaven, supported by the Titan Atlas. 3 pillars hold the heaven. They also did that with the Atlas. Gave him a ball to carry. But here he's speaking about a pillar of the earth. How you going to have a pillar for a ball, right?
Really? When was Atlas known to be around? Because the Earth wasn't round back then, was it?
Exactly. This is the thing.
So what was he carrying?
No, because we know that the idea of the globe earth is not even 500 years old, and the Greeks and all their understanding about their universe is another 1500 years before.
Yeah.
Right? So how are they trying to wrap it around something?
Well, that's modern days. They're doing it, I think. You know, in the
Yeah,
age
me
of
too.
information.
Me too. I think they're redoing all the, or they did, like in the late 1800s, redid everything with balls and
Yeah, because they
Yeah,
knew that the
statues.
Greeks. Yeah, because they knew the Greeks were really really smart. So they want to use that basis of their studies and try to turn it into a heliocentric Earth because like directly going contrary, it's gonna be really obvious, right?
yeah. What you got to consider when they took the schooling over, also. So that means they have all the information going in and out of those places. So
Exactly. Then you have
I know.
under the earth,
Mm.
the underworld, also known as Hades, is the realm where the souls of the dead go and is ruled by Hades. Then you have the primeval ocean, cosmic ocean, which surrounds the earth and its pillar. It literally says that in the most basic words. What is the real shape of the earth? Primeval ocean, cosmic ocean, which surrounds the earth and its pillars.
Huh.
So tell us, where does the Greek think that the earth was a ball? It's not possible. 1,500 years difference, right?
I even wonder if Aristarchus was even saying that, or if they just added that in to make it look like, kind of soften it up a little. It wasn't the first time.
Hmm.
In the 1400s it was suggested. Because don't forget, guys, in 1400, when Columbus was on his way to India to find a shorter trading route, they were still debating it heavily. They thought he was going to fall off the earth, allegedly.
Right. They
It
still
was a
thought it
big.
was in the middle of the universe, though, right?
I'm not sure, but they didn't know for sure he was going to fall off the earth or make it around anywhere, and that was before Newton, long before too. So it's they I think they just want to stretch these years out. Personally, it's just a thought. It's how I think they work. They're giving us all this stuff. So what are they going to give us? Real
I know, it
information? No,
makes
we got to find
perfect
it out
sense.
ourselves. You know.
If you look at fashion, especially,
Mm.
and stuff that changes really fast, it changes like every decade. So how
Right.
come from like
Yeah.
the
Music.
1500s to 1800s, everything was stagnant?
Ah. Same
All the
kind of
paintings
attire.
were the same. Right, right.
Mm. Yeah, the paintings are a serious issue too, with the pigments and all the stonework, all that stuff is the
Yeah.
buildings, statues, the art is all a problem. All of it's a
I think
problem when you dig
they've
into.
proven that the paintings have like so many layers they can't even count them all. And
Yeah.
that would be like way harder than right.
Well, then they'll use the excuse that, well, material was hard to come by, so you didn't just throw your artboard away.
Oh
But
yeah.
with the pigments,
Excuses,
they
excuses.
can't get the pigments ground down to the micron as small as they did back then.
Exactly.
You know, the, that's a problem if you ask me. Machinery can't grind pigments down to a micron like they could 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, what else you telling us, guys?
Oh yeah, and also the metallurgy and many stuff there. Okay, so after the primeval ocean, there is a part. It's called the abyss, also known as Tihoem. below the primeval ocean and the pillar of the earth. Scary monsters roam these dark, scary seas. So in the Greek mythology, the primordial deities are the first generations of gods and goddesses. Like these deities represented the fundamental forces and the physical foundation of the world. And generally, not actively worshipped, as they, for the most part, were not given human characters. They were instead personifications of places or abstract concept, according to some, right? So you have Hesiod in his Theogony considers the first being after chaos to be Gaia, and Tartarus, Eros, Erebus, Hemera, Nyx. Then Gaia and Uranus in turn gave birth to the Titans and the Cyclopes. The Titans, the Cronus, then Rhea, gave birth to the generation of the Olympians, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, Hera, Demeter.
Hey guys, keep in mind, NASA uses Apollo and Artemis as their missions, and Apollo was a god of the sun, I think, and Artemis was the goddess of the moon. I think that's how it goes.
Right.
Kind of strange how they resort back to the old school way of thinking in certain ways when they know they can't get places.
Exactly, because the Helios is supposed to be the Greek god of the sun. But later Apollo became the sun god.
Right.
And Apollo is the son of Zeus and Leto.
I think they did that with the planets too. They all used to be named after Greek gods, and then they changed them to Roman ones or something.
Exactly. Like many of the planets, luminaries, as with the months, take their name from Roman gods and leaders. Like July, for example, is a shortening of Julius, as in Julius Caesar. Similarly, August is named in honor of Augustus Caesar, also known as Octavian, who became the emperor of the ancient Rome after the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE. There are also Roman names for the majority of the luminaries in the solar system, according to like the Greeks are really the ones who deserve the credit for creating these gods and their planetary associations. The Romans more or less copied the Greeks' god into their own mythology. Not only the gods, many things, okay?
Yeah,
many things. The Roman,
they stole everything.
And then they say
that
they are the real civilization and there is their real truth, right?
Yeah. No kidding.
After stealing from everywhere, even the most
today.
First they steal and then this is the real truth, and we have the truth, nobody else. In every aspect, it's like that.
Oh, it is. People don't understand. They're here doing this right now.
So they didn't change. They didn't even change all the names. Apollo, for example, like is the same name in both Greek and Roman cosmology. Their personalities and their dominions, be it the wind, the sea, war, healing, poetry, and so on, were also practically copied and pasted over.
Copy and paste. Yeah, right. They couldn't even be bothered, or they weren't creative enough. I wonder what happened there.
Pretty lazy.
Like it's fairly easy to recognize the Roman gods who were associated with each planets, right? Because most of them use the same name for both planets and the gods.
Mercury.
First was the first was the Helios, the Helios, the Heliopsychosis, right? So was Helios, and then Apollo is supposed to be the son of Zeus and Leto. And he was connected with the sun. He was the golden boy of the gods.
Who was that?
Golden boy of the gods, Apollo.
Oh, Apollo. They had Dionysus too, right? Vikka, the god of wine. I found that interesting. I don't know what that is. Like an elixir or something. Wine was important. That's why they had all those jars. Jars were important to these people to transport wine.
Oh yeah, they had a drink called ambrosia, which was supposed to be like the drink of immortality, for the gods, which is a direct connection with the same, like the Vedics, that they had Amrit, ambrosia is the same word, but we'll get that part later.
Okay.
And then the second luminary was supposed to be the Mercury. And Hermes was the Greek god associated with the planet Mercury. And one of the best ways to understand Hermes is to look at the story of his birth. He was walking and talking fluently within minutes of his birth. He traveled hundreds of miles on the first day of his life, herding cattle, which belonged to Apollo, back to the caves where his mother Maya was waiting for him, completely dumbfounded. Hermes was a physical and mentally quick. Apollo confronted him about the stealing and butchering his cattle. Hermes produced a lyre, a stringed instrument which he made from the guts of the cattle. He sat beside Apollo, still on his first day of the birth, teaching him about chords and harmonies. So after explaining his need for the cattle and the offering, Apollo, the lyre, all was forgiven. He soon claimed the final of the 12 seats of Mount Olympus. Then the next one was Venus. Aphrodite was the god of Venus. She was associated with beauty, love, passion, pleasure, procreation.
I remember Aphrodite because I was mortified in school on how she was made.
Oh yeah, because was not very nice, according to it. Was not very beautiful even.
No.
So after Uranus was castrated by his son, Cronus, Cronus flung his genital parts into the sea, and from the foam arose Aphrodite. Her birth really wasn't out of the ordinary in being so extraordinary. She's actually a god. Yeah, go ahead.
Very odd way for the goddess of love to be brought into the world.
You're right, the irony.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be in a way representing, like, of genetic multiplication, or
Yeah, that's weird. I was wondering because there's only one person involved, right?
Exactly.
Interesting.
That happens in a lot of older stories, though. Native Americans over here have quite a few like that, with like brothers that like copulate with their knee or something. So it is weird.
Huh.
So she's actually a godly generation above that of Zeus. She is his aunt. In fact, but took Zeus' side in the great war between the Olympian gods and the Titans, and earned herself a top spot in Olympus. Olympus is the same as Mount Meru, but it's a central mountain for the Greeks.
Okay.
It's the same thing, Mount Meru or Olympus.
Thought so. So here we go, back again, right, Vikka?
Exactly. Exactly, and the
north,
importance of the North right there.
Guys, Google the North Pole right now. Anybody right now, tell me what it looks like. You find it interesting. You worry about Santa all of a sudden. I'll tell you why, though, because over the years they've been chipping away at the North Pole, and it's gone now. So there's no land on the North Pole according to Google Earth. When they flag you and the world turns around and brings you to the North Pole, you're in the middle of an ocean.
Oh yeah, and Zeus. Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, that's okay. I was just gonna say, I wonder how close it looks to the Mercator map from the 1500s, the North Pole.
As according to Google?
No, Google doesn't. No, I mean in real life. If
Oh,
anything's still
right,
there, or
Yeah.
And Zeus is supposed to be it's the house of Zeus, the Olympus, the Mount of Olympus, right? So it shows the importance of the Mount Olympus and the North Pole right there also. And then after Venus, we have the Earth, Gaia, one of the oldest of the Greek gods, is the god of the earth. Gaia is one of the grandmother of Zeus. Both the mother and the lover of the sky. Uranus, like Uranus, She didn't have many options in her early cosmic formation. From their union, all subsequent gods, titans, Cyclops and giants came. Okay, again we have the giants here. Yeah, Evelyn.
Yeah. Yes, I'm coming from the biblical side. I'm always looking for coincidences in and not only in the Bible but mostly in the Book of Enoch, which gives a lot of untold details that you don't find in the Bible, and it's very interesting to note. For example, that it refers to Uranus as the sky and Gaia as the earth. And when you know the story of how the Nephilim came down to earth, as in the angels from the sky, who took the women from the earth, Gaia. So in that, it's a big coincidence that that the angels are referred to as Uranus, the sky, as in the angels that came down from the sky, and taking the women, which is the earth women from Gaia, as in personificating the women as a whole, because when people were created, they were created from the earth. So that personification of the creation of men and women from the earth is given as a Gaia. To Gaia have given birth to the people of the earth. So this is a very interesting point here.
That's why it's called Pachamama. No, that's why Gaia is also very similar to Pachamama in the shamanic people, because the same. It's supposed to be the mother, so we are born from here. No, like in a way, we that physical material and everything is here. What I find quite interesting is also that how importance they gave to the celestial and the earth and the heavens and the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
And even to time, to time, the sky, the stars, is because it's all connected. It's all one, right? It's all interdependent on each other.
Yeah.
So
even the description of Helios, which is that's where we get the term heliocentric. It's all to do with the sun, because Helios was noted as the god of the sun god, and he was described as riding a chariot across the sky. And it's very interesting to note, to see the similarity in the Book of Enoch, which describes the sun riding like in a sort of chariot. So the chariot on which he ascends is talking about he, the sun. It's a masculine word. That's just like in many languages, you have masculine words and feminine words. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a man or a woman. And then it says the chariot on which he ascends, the solar wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east. So it's actually describing the Greek denomination of Helios is describing him riding in a chariot, just like Enoch describes the sun traveling in the
and also in the Vedic cosmology, they represent the sun as a chariot, and where we spoke about it, that this chariot wheel is changing, like it's on a kind of a rail, and it's changing, going between the different
portals
tropics
or gates. Yeah, Yeah, in Enoch he describes the sun going in a circular motion, but every time, traveling inside inwards. And he describes the sun going through gates. So at a specific time of the year, it goes through a specific gate. So until it reaches the innermost circle, and then it just travels back within the same gates. So that's another good point there. Mm. And about the giants, yeah, the titans. The the titans were born from that union of Uranus and Gaia. So when you think about how it's described in Genesis 6 and in Enoch about the Nephilim coming down and the angels mating with the women, it this is it's the same point here. As from that union, the first titans were born. It says 6 males and 6 females. So you have Coius, Creus, Cronus, Hyperion, Apatus, and Oceanus. And the 6 females, what's this? Mnemosyne, Phoebe, Rhea, Theia, Themis, and Tethys. And then, it states, after Cronus is the god of time, was born, Gaia and Uranus decreed no more titans were to be born. Yeah, because there were, titans. There were giants. There were, really, 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 really tall, really big. So these were not. This was, it was not a normal, child. It was. It had angel DNA, so they just they grew too big. And what do we have here?
Oh yeah, and Gaia has survived not only through Roman mythology, where she was called Terra. That's why you say Terra.
Tierra.
Tierra, which comes also from Latin.
Yes.
But was also adopted in other religions. Then we have the moon, the Artemis. Oh, the Artemis mission. They want to go to the moon, yeah? The twin sister of Apollo was the goddesses of the moon. As everything about Apollo was golden, everything about Artemis was silver. Apollo was the sun, Artemis was the moon. She, like her brother, was credited with the invention of archery, and she became goddesses of hunting, the wilderness, wild animals. She wanted everything to be fair between herself and her brother, and for no man to even touch her. So those who tried regretted it. Only one man, her hunting partner Orion, ever won her heart. But he was killed by either Gaia or Artemis herself by accident.
Vikka, did you say she was the goddess of the wilderness
Artemis.
and animals and the wilderness? Is that what you said also?
Yeah.
So there's a cosmic connection to the animals then, is that right?
Also, exactly.
I love that. I think we've mentioned stuff like that. Animals following natural rhythms that we don't understand. Lobsters, whales, dolphins, herds of all kinds of different deer and four-legged animals. Right. Cool.
Exactly, and hunting in full moon, and
Right. Traveling in full moon is, as opposed to even half a moon, is just a really, really big difference. Full moon is very bright. And if you do the inverse square law of light backwards to the moon, it should be brighter than the sun. So,
oh yeah. Then we have,
I
yeah, go
like
ahead.
that part. No, I like that part, bro. Thank you. I like that kind of information about nature and animals, plants. That's my thing.
Oh yeah, as it's all connected. And then we have Mars.
The god of war.
Ares is the Greek god for the planet Mars. He was the god of war, because war is also an anagram for war in a way. More specifically, the violent and the brutal aspect of war. His sister Athena, on the other hand, was the god of skill and tactics of war. Ares or Aries is like the representation in a way of the zodiac. Ares was all about mindless fighting, and mindless is the crucial word. He was not an intelligent god.
That's funny.
It's no
You know,
surprise that. Yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry, go ahead.
No. I'll just mention one thing and then you can add it.
Okay, no,
It's
because
not.
my mind is just wandering to other things that I've noticed that there was a lot of twins going on there, because they always come in pairs. The male and female, but also from the beginning, you have Cain and Abel being born as twins, and in another scripture, in another ancient book, they're mentioned of having been born apart with twin sisters. Um, and also Jacob and Esau, twins. Um, who do I?
Oh yeah, and Abraham and Sarah, or Brahma is Saraswati, also Shiva Parvati, Krishna.
Yeah, they're all
So it's all.
twins.
It,
And here um the first titans that were born, there were 6 males and 6 females. Uh, and then you think, well, okay, whether twins, male and female. So yeah, it's quite a coincidence there that there's a lot of twin. And then I get to think, well, women have 2 ovaries. It would be only natural for both of them to ovulate at the same time. One side for male, one side for female. I don't know. Only because I know it's the sperm that you get, the male female, but you have 2 ovaries, so it for me it would be logical to think that way back then both ovaries would actually ovulate at the same time, releasing 2 eggs, which would give the chance for them both to be fertilized as a male and a female. So, uh, yeah. So it's things that I'm just connecting in my head, which makes sense to me, but I don't know.
It makes me wonder if there's a way to tell if there's a right time to do that or not
Hmm.
by watching the moon or the stars or something. You know, there could be a signal, or I don't know. Just makes me
Or
wonder
maybe,
too, though. It's a good
yeah,
point. A lot of twins, yeah.
or maybe because our DNA has been tampered with, so early on, we are not ovulating two eggs at the same time. It's only one, but that would mean that this would be another way to reduce population,
Sure.
by half actually, because if everybody would be having twins, then you would have twice as many people in living in your town.
A lot of twins in my family.
Yeah, so this is something that would have happened around about the time before the flood or just after the flood when they were tampering with DNA. So yeah, it's a remnant of the tampering. Like,
Oh yeah.
so
Speaking about the twins, I was also a twin.
my
I
father is a
was.
twin. Oh yes,
Oh,
my father was a twin.
Yeah, but my other brother, he didn't survive, but I was a twin too.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, bro.
So you imagine only me if I had one more of me, right? So
the world would be a better place. Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I do think you're
And
onto something, though.
did he pass away? Pass away as an adult or baby
no,
or?
no, baby, like
Oh,
very, yeah.
okay. Yes. Yeah, I was hoping for twins when I was pregnant. I want twins. I want twins.
There
But
doesn't
no.
seem to be as many down now, even as there was just a few decades ago,
Yes, indeed. Yes.
honestly.
That's true. Right.
Mm,
Think about that. You don't see
yeah.
twins running around all over the
Yes.
place.
That's
Here and
that's
there, maybe, but
that's why my observation from it, twins seem to be, you know, uh, not that common nowadays as
Here, for example, here it's a bit more common because it's because of the artificial insemination here, at least
oh
in Europe. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So the people you see twins, you see no like two together,
Mm-hmm.
male, female, a
Mm-hmm.
lot here in Spain. And
Yeah.
the natural way it's m- less. Like before, it used to be a natural way of twins. Now it's more because of this. And then we have Jupiter, Zeus, the king of gods, Zeus. What does that word sound like?
Jesus.
Exactly, because that's what it is. Zeus,
Does, right?
Jesus, Jesus,
Uh,
Jupiter.
Well, that will go against Jesus being the son of God. So I mean, Zeus was what's the year? When was Zeus? Zeus was grown. Yeah. Um,
He
I
was the
can't.
child
I
of
can't. I can't.
Kronos
Yeah.
and
I
Rhea.
can't see. I can't see Jesus doing this. When Zeus was grown, he fed his father a drugged drink, which caused Kronos to vomit, throwing up Rhea's other children and the stone. And then he challenged Kronos to war for the kingship. So yeah, and then Zeus was plagued by the same concern as his father had been. So this is all very human. And after a prophecy that his first wife Metis would give birth to a god greater than he swallowed Metis. But she was already pregnant with Athena, and they both made him miserable until Athena, the goddess of wisdom, civilization, and justice, burst from his head. Oh gosh. Fully grown and dressed for war. So, so yeah. I'm not partial to agreeing with Zeus being same as Jesus, but that's my input.
Oh yeah, so Zeus was the child of Kronos and Rhea. As Kronos had deposed his father Uranus, Zeus' destiny was to overthrow Kronos and his Titans. Today, a Titan has positive connotation, but it was originally used as a pejorative term for the sons of Uranus. After many years of battling, the Titans were finally defeated. Zeus punished all who had opposed him. Some he eventually forgave, but he gave Kronos the humiliating punishment of swinging in a scythe of time, mercilessly cutting through the ages. From this, he gained the name Father of Time, as we were also speaking about in some of our podcasts. Saturn, the turning of time, right? Turn. And many of our words to do with time are associated with chronos, chronological, chronometer, synchronous. So Zeus divided up responsibility over the world, primarily between the 12 gods of Mount Olympus. Oh, very interesting coincidence, like Zeus and his 12 gods on Mount Olympus. Zeus himself, while he was ultimately in charge of everything, was the god of the sky and thunder. His wife was Hera. He had a wandering eye and bore children through other goddesses. And then we have Saturn, Kronos himself, right? Was associated with the planet Saturn. Also see that the god celebrated in one of our days of the week, Saturday, the day of Saturn. Why would the Greeks bestow such an honor onto Kronos, the defeated enemy of Zeus? But this is the thing, it's the same thing. Zeus and Kronos, they are fighting. It's the same, light with darker, right? It's Jesus versus the Satan, Saturn, right? It's the same story. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Just the names and the little
Yes, it's
differences.
the stories being told from generation to generation, and yeah, they get little changes, names, situations, geographical positions, and
Exactly.
gets told. Just every storyteller has their own way of telling. So it's only logical and natural that with every generation there is some change in what is told. So that's why they took to writing things down. Because you couldn't, you wouldn't, when you write it down, you couldn't change really. You had the whole narration written down. So
So when the Romans adopted Kronos into their religion as Saturn, they took a much more favorable view of him, as he was responsible for the time. He could influence the beginnings and the end of the seasons. This was therefore a god to take seriously. Kronos was again rebranded as the angel of death and the grim reaper in the Judeo-Christian version of events. Things didn't end quite so badly for the Kronos then. He got a planet, a day of the week, a reverence from the Romans, and an important place in Judaism and Christianity.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how much influence the Greek have all over the world, even today, with all these names and all their connections with their gods and the days and and the cycles and all the luminaries and the earth and everything,
Yeah, even the change of the Sabbath, the Christianity has changed that to the Sunday, which is the sun day, as in sun god. It's all about sun worship, like in the Egyptian religion beliefs. They have
the Horus.
Horus. They have the sun god. So that's where Christianity has, decided to change the holy day to the Sunday to actually to worship the sun god Ra.
Yeah, Ra-El. It's the
Yes.
same thing. Ra means sun, El also means sun.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Unfortunately, the organized part of that religion only cares about money. The church part in Rome, whatever.
Yeah, they
Oh, it's
changed
just institutionalization of the mystical and spirituality. This is what they did. That's it.
Yeah, a
I
lot
think.
of disinformation through it too, right? To keep people scattered,
Oh,
fighting.
can you imagine what they have in their library? I can't even.
Right? I know.
Oh yeah, it's not for the masses. The real truth, what is there in most of the in these ancient books, is not for the majority. It's for them. Only the part which is help them to keep them divided and keep them indoctrinated is there. Very well been edited and manipulated and contaminated.
Yeah.
That it works for their agenda, and it's happening. So
Yeah, I think that they might have also more scriptures, definitely, because I mean look at the Bible, how relatively small it is. I mean, just looking at look in your bookshelf for a famous author, let's say Stephen King. I mean, how many books does he have? So, and then you look at the Bible and you think, well, is this everything that God had to say or relate? I mean, it's thousands of years of the earth being in existence. So I would think that he would have a lot more to say than what's in those, few thousand pages or hundred pages. So I'm of the opinion that they do have more scriptures, as in letters, narrations, songs. Who knows what?
Oh yeah. The Enoch is supposed to be like one part. So there are many other parts of the Bible. The real Bible is supposed to be missing, right? And it's not for the people, and the information that it shares, right?
But they say it's 77 books or something like that. But is that the truth? I mean, are they supplying an
We
alternative
won't know.
proof? You know, are they are they just saying that because that's what they want us to believe, that well, it's not 66 books in the Bible, it's actually 77 or 80, whatever. But
Yeah, but whatever is in
it's
the
it's
Bible,
it's
yeah, whatever.
still too little.
Exactly, but whatever is in the Bible is not only about God that came down the earth and the prophets
Exactly.
and your commandments.
Hmm.
It's not only about that.
No.
It's a lot more
Yes.
about really
Exactly. Yes.
living your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. How to really
Yes.
connect with the nature around you,
Yes.
and get along with everybody, and be in harmony with our realm. That's what we're made to do.
Absolutely.
Mm. So I'm of the opinion that there's a lot of scriptures, writings, and just about everything that has to do with not only um, not only talking about God's laws, but also about Earth and how the Earth works and all that stuff.
Exactly, and what
Yeah,
every human place is there in this world, and
yeah,
how to really live in harmony with.
with each
So the
other, with
whole
nature.
message actually is been manipulated in a way that it's not the real message. So
Yeah,
because
yes,
many people speak about things from Bible, and that is a part of paganism and all this, but it's all the same thing,
mm,
right? Because the parts, the missing parts, if the people find it and they go into it, they're going to see that it's the same thing as pagans too. There's nothing, these
yes,
people were also human. And
yes.
after later in the show, I'm going to give the real definition.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's like splitting off of your faith in God, in a creator, and splitting away from the spirituality that goes with it. So the Bible contains the God side, and then the esoteric contains the spiritual side, and then those two factions are not mixing. But when you actually take some of the spirituality that goes on, all the and then um and then sort of link it to to your belief, to your faith in a creator, and to know how this world works and all that. Well, there's some esoteric stuff that does actually work with um yeah, your spirituality in God. So
Exactly,
it's
because that
yeah.
the another, as I was mentioning the other day about the frequencies and all this stuff,
Mhm.
right? All
Yeah,
the
that is a fact.
harmonics and the
Yeah.
organs that used to be in the churches, and all
Mm,
these connecting with the ether, and all these awesome construction with this cathedral had their purpose for that sounds
mm.
to
And the
come
thing is
in
that
and heal the people
yeah.
because of those particular frequencies, and these frequencies are even mentioned in the testament.
Mm. Because what you hear from the Christian side is that the spiritual side, as in the esoteric, you will see um, I say that they are all demonizing every, things that in the esoteric world happen, and well, you can go both sides, because you can work on your spirituality in a negative way, but you can also work at it in a positive way, which will work with what we know about energies and about frequencies,
And
and
sound.
spirituality. Yeah, and you can even work with that and still be
a
in
Christian in align
Christian.
with your
And
creator, right?
yes,
Why not? But it's not
yes,
only that, it's so much stuff. It's about us, because it's
mm,
every possibility that we could imagine. The law of attraction is there, but it's not. They're not going to see. They're not going to show. They're not going to. Even if they show to the people, they would say it's not real.
mm,
Exactly. They don't want us to know. It's
no.
divide and conquer.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
exactly. In every
it's
way,
really,
shape, or form.
yeah. And we know that the Bible that we have is a, how do you say, cleaned up version of what what we really should be having, because I think it's in one of the verses, it says, to ask and it shall be given. But I was listening to this guy. When was it? Yesterday, I think. He was talking that this is verse that says, ask God and it shall be given, and I don't know the rest of the verse. But he also said the the part that they left out, which is not in the Bible, but it's in another book, it's there. So, it's not lost. It's just somewhere else. And he said the part that they left out was the part, the two sentences that tells you how to ask. And he actually read out those two sentences, and I'm like, oh my God, that's that I've actually experienced that. I asked in that particular way, in that particular manner, and well, it's like God opened my eyes because I asked. But in that particular, you have to ask in a particular manner, and if you don't really feel it, you read the verse and you say, ask and it shall be given. Yeah, what can I ask for? I can ask for this, I can ask for that, I can ask to be healed, I can ask to whatever. But it's that particular way of asking which makes your connection, your link to God, that he's like, okay,
the
this
the
problem
thing the thing is, Evelyn, the real essence of the Bible
yeah.
and Christ and everything is just so twisted in reality to what is
Mm.
the real message of what's there in those books.
Yes, it is.
That's the problem. So before we continue, hey Keith, how are you, Keith?
Hey, Vika, doing good. Just got back from a long trip, but I was listening some on YouTube and thought I'd jump on and say hi for a few minutes.
How you doing, Keith?
Hey, Gene, doing good, man. Had a real good trip.
Very
Stephanie,
cool.
good to see you on here. I see you on Facebook all the time. Never seen you in here before, so good to see you, Stephanie.
Hello there.
Hi, Keith.
Hi, Evelyn. Yeah, always good to hear your voice too. So I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the entire production from tonight, because the Greeks are something that there's a lot of misinformation around the Greeks. I think, as you guys were just talking about the misinformation in the Bible or of the Bible. I don't know what to trust when it comes to the Greeks, to be honest with you. I certainly don't trust the history that the Greco-Roman architecture is everywhere across the surface of the earth in every country. I don't trust that at all. I don't think it was Greco or Roman, but I'm sure the Greeks had the knowledge that the earth is flat and stationary. And I think we're supposed to believe, according to the public school system, we're supposed to believe that the Greeks were just so stupid they couldn't figure it out. That's why they had a geocentric Earth. But you guys know me. I mean, my belief is that the ancient cultures were probably much smarter than we are today. I think we've probably been, instead of evolving, we've been devolving for a long time. And as I heard you guys talking, there's some things they don't want us to know. There's things that are hidden from us. And, Evelyn, I heard you talking about asking. It's the ASK all goes together. It's asking, seeking, and knocking, that you ask and you'll receive. And if you're not receiving, then you keep on asking. If you seek, you will find. If you're not finding, then you just keep on seeking. And if you knock, then the door is open. And if the door is not opening, it's the wrong door. Go knock on another door. So
Yes.
ask, seek,
That's
and
great.
knock. Ask, seek, and knock for me is a very real way that I live my life. It did come out of the Bible for me. I mean, it may have been from other books as well. I think the Bible still has a lot of wisdom in it, but Vika, as you said, there's a lot of problems with it too. There's a lot of contradictions, and who knows what was added and who knows what was taken out. So for me personally, I think maybe the Greeks too, instead of just looking at writings, they looked at the experiences of their lives, spiritual as well as physical experiences, and I try to do the same. So for whatever it's worth, that's my 2 cents worth on on some of the Greeks. But it's good to hang out with you guys for a while here.
Well, what we mean also is, Keith, that you can see there's so much similarities with the Greeks and the Romans, and and with the Bible, and with other cosmology that we've been discussing from past few months. There's more similarities, and instead of being differences, you see the connection, you see the names there, you see the way the stories are being portrayed. So it's the same thing happening again, but what we are seeing here is that the Greek had the most impact also, kind of, in a way, at least in this part of the world. There, everything we use is Greek in a way, all right? So these people really wanted the Greeks to think that the Earth was a sphere, but that's not the case, because the most important points they have to say that maybe the Greek would have thought that the Earth was sphere is so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, the one they use all the time is, well, Eratosthenes knew 2,000 years ago. The Greeks figured it out 2,000 years ago. And I said, okay, well, hey, it's 2023. Show me some proof today. Why can't you point to an experiment that they did last week to prove the Earth is a sphere? All you have is belief and opinion. And sorry, bro, but that's not scientific.
Why can't
The
they do the
Greek,
same?
yeah, go ahead.
Why can't they do the same exact test? That would prove it.
I think his test worked on both a flat plane and a sphere anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, the light. Yeah,
Yeah.
you shine a light on a table with a series of glasses across there. The light will
Greeks,
shine.
the Greeks were perfectionists. The Greeks believed in perfect cycles, in circles. They are not into chaotic movements going all around in different directions. No, they were about perfection. They were about cycles. So how the hell somebody can tell us that the Greeks thought that the Earth was a sphere? Right, 2,000 years ago, they were not there to say that, maybe because one of their point is because they saw the eclipses and the shadow of the eclipse was round. That's the reason. Because they were so good at astronomy, so they're pushing it onto the Greeks to take more credit, that you see what we are saying is true because the Greeks thought the same way. It's not the thing. They were very good at astronomy. Okay, that's the thing. That's why they want to relate with the Greeks and call them that they had the idea of a sphere, but that's not the case. We spoke about the model. They speak about a closed system. They speak about a pillar base. They speak about the different layers of everything. And all those small details, what they are trying to portray, the importance of these luminaries and the movements above, and the earth, the Gaia, and the below, and the heavens, right? How is it happening on a ball earth? Just repeating two nonsense stuff of he measured a shadow on here and there. It's not going to prove, right?
No, but like Stephanie says, that experiment works both ways. And a few of the numbers do with the sun. So they're very clever with how they manipulated it.
Well, the original experiment, if it was ever actually done, if it wasn't just added to the history books,
Right.
in the early 2000 or the early 1930s or something.
And one experiment
Good
survived
point.
time.
Yeah. I think David Weiss was bringing that up, that Eratosthenes was never even mentioned in any history books until the 1920s or so. So even if it was a real experiment, that experiment had to assume that the sun was huge and that the sun was super far away.
Right.
Well, if we look in the sky and we see all those crepuscular rays going back to a very local small sun, the small local sun gives the experiment the same results of showing shadows at different lengths in different areas because the sun is small and close and it's not huge and far away. So yeah, I mean there's so many problems with the ancient experiments or the old experiments that the Globers want to use and say, oh look, they knew it was a globe, 200 years ago. They knew it was a globe 2,000 years ago. It's like, well, okay, well let's repeat that experiment today without the assumption that the sun is huge and far away, and let's see what we get. And I mean, the words I use is our observable reality. Every time I look deeper into what we actually observe in the sky and what we actually observe on the earth, our observable reality continually debunks the idea that the earth is a sphere. So and
Sure.
for you guys, for 5 years, I've been doing this now, almost 6 years. And the first 2 years before I ever came out of the closet, if you will, and started promoting flat earth, I listened to all or almost all of the overpaid science priests and the proofs that they wanted to give for the globe. And after a while, it just smacked me in the face like, oh my God, none of this is proof. It's all beliefs, it's all opinions. There's not one piece of empirical evidence to support the globe. So here I am 6 years later and more emphatic about it than ever because I think it's a door, the flat earth is a door to start learning other truths, whether it's truths about God or the Greeks or whatever else. If people can get over or get past this one lie that the earth is a spinning wet rock in outer space, my experience with people is that they start seeing other things or start learning other truths that they didn't know before also.
So let me ask you something, guys. Is it reasonable to think that they knew 500 miles away the exact same time of day at that point in time?
I think it's reasonable, yeah.
That 500 miles away, you knew it was exactly 1200. It was noon, 500 miles away. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's likely, but I think it's reasonable.
I'm just wondering how they would know that.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the shadows, but shadows can tell you time if you mark them right.
Right.
That's a sundial, basically.
Hey, do the Greeks have anything like the Vedics do or the Hindus do with their sun temples with all of the sundials that are in those temples? Do the Greeks have temples or places of worship like that showing the movement of the sun?
I've never been to Greece, so I can't say exactly, but they have to be. They were really, if they were good in technology of construction and understanding this, how the heaven moves and about their whole creation. So I think they would have had some kind of technology in some way, right? Representing in some way.
Well, I know some of the buildings that the current society attributes to the Greeks. Those buildings are lined up perfectly for the solstices and the equinoxes. I was just curious about something like the Vedic.
Oh yeah, the ley lines and all this stuff. Yeah, geomancy for sure. That's a part of technology too, to understand the right places for the right energy to flow in, the ether and everything. For definitely, they had to have that kind of knowledge.
And that's the stuff that's been still hidden away. The places where we do things and why and when we do things.
Yeah.
All kinds of that information's been hidden and used against us, I'd have to imagine. The communication with nature that we think we have could be 1,000 times better.
The bullshit they sell is that in the 5th century it was widely accepted that the Earth was a sphere. This is the bullshit they spread.
Really? Widely accepted.
and that was it was a that it was a widespread misconception that the ancient people thought that the Earth was flat. Yeah,
Right. So
I
they
think
got
it's
everything
been like
else right.
yeah.
less than 100 years.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, so Empedocles and Anaxagoras offered argument for the spherical nature of the Earth. Okay, that's what they say. That during a lunar eclipse, when the Earth is between the Sun and the Moon, they identified the shadow of the Earth on the Moon. As the shadow moves across the Moon, it is clearly round. This would suggest that the Earth is a sphere. Suggests. They are basing their whole lies that the Greeks thought because of the eclipses that the Earth was round because of the shadow of on the Moon.
Well, that would have been a very easy experiment for them to do. Have you seen the one on YouTube where they use the flat thing and it makes a curved shadow, and then they use a bowling ball or something? It makes a
Oh,
flat shadow.
that's also one of my video too. I have a video
Yeah.
on
I thought so.
Yeah,
lunar eclipses.
we've talked about this before. I mean, even on the heliocentric nonsense model, the Earth is huge compared to the Moon. And we want to think that a huge Earth is going to cast a cute little small shadow, a curved shadow on the Moon. No, I mean, if it was the Earth's shadow, you wouldn't even see any curvature. You'd probably see a straight line going across the Moon because of how big the Earth is compared to the Moon, even on the heliocentric nonsense.
yeah, right, and it would be diffused as well.
Yeah.
It's all wrong.
Oh yeah.
You know, the eclipses, the phases.
So given the opportunities for the observation of a lunar eclipse do not come along that often, there was also evidence of the roundness of the Earth in the experience of the sailors. That's why they stuck to this boat going over the horizon, because they are saying that it's from the time of the Greeks. When a ship appears on the horizon, it's the top of the ship that is visible first. A wide range of astronomy texts over the time use this as a way to illustrate the roundness of the Earth. What a BS, right?
I want one of those
I
telescopes.
still have people trying to use that with me almost every week, multiple times a week. Somebody says, "Well, you're stupid. Just go out to the beach and watch a ship sail away." It's like, okay, then get your binoculars out after it disappears from your naked eye and watch it reappear. How did that happen? Oh, I guess
Exactly.
it wasn't curvature. And the Greeks, I don't know what year the sextant was created or advised, but the sextant has to have 3 flat sides to work. And I got a friend here in town that's a sailor, and he sails all over the place, and he still wants to argue with me that no, the sextant was created to use spherical trigonometry, and it can have a curved baseline. It's like, then it doesn't work. You can't use triangulation with a curved baseline. It has to be flat.
Exactly, it's not happening.
All right. So I'm
So
sure
he says it works either on a curved or flat baseline.
No, he says that it's used. I mean, his argument is that it uses spherical trigonometry. I said no, it's triangulation, which needs 3 flat sides to work.
So these people have actually shot in their own foot, by saying that the ships go over the horizon, because some of these people a couple of 100 years ago made that lie up, that the Greeks thought that the Greeks said that because of the ship going over the horizon, and that's also the proof of the Earth. And now with the technology and everything, with all the amazing cameras, we can see that it's not the case. So it's like this: they can change, they can eat their own words. So there are many lies like this that have been stuck on, and they can change it because it was so absurd, and in the future it's going to be much more absurd, and the thing they're saying now is going to be also much absurd, right?
Well, they're flying drones remote on Mars right now. That's pretty crazy.
Well, but
And they,
the absurdity of the ship sailing out of sight over curvature. I mean, it's so easy. If you'll just look again, our observable reality. If the ship disappears from naked eye, and you can zoom it right back in with a telescope or my P1000 camera that I have, and see that it's there, then it's obviously not curvature. But the absurdity of this is that they claim it's curvature just within a few miles from the observer on the y-axis, but you still never see any curvature on the x-axis, which is a much further distance than the y-axis from you to the ship. It's like
right.
they can't think or reason logically at all. All they can do is regurgitate their indoctrination and then defend their belief, and they literally cannot consider something that contradicts what they believe. As simple as the proofs are, as simple as the truth is about a ship sailing out of sight with angular resolution, perspective, vanishing points. I mean, simple things about vision that they just cannot consider because they have a belief that that ship sailed over the curvature.
Exactly, because that's not, they want to put it out in a simple way, like the ship appears on the horizon as the tops of the ship is visible first, and they're saying that it's going over the horizon. As the image suggests, this is exactly what one would expect on a spherical earth. If the earth was flat, it would have been expected that you would be able to see the entire ship as soon as it became visible. So that is their science. Simple one, but a biggest lie, right? Is there any science in there that they're trying to prove their point?
Nope, just belief.
None of it works. Not as we see it in real life.
Well, I mean, people use pictures all the time, like the windmills out in the ocean, and the bottom half of the windmill is missing. And, there's a bunch of them in the picture that you've probably all seen. But I asked them, I said, yeah, look at those windows. Are they standing straight up, or are they leaning away from the observer with the curvature of the earth?
Exactly.
And they're standing straight up, just like the Chicago skyline across the Great Lakes. I mean, that's 50 something miles away, and all those buildings are standing perfectly erect. None of them are leaning away from the observer with the curvature of the earth.
Like the power lines, like Pontchartrain.
Yeah.
That's the it looks like a curve, but that's just that, like, what is that, atmospheric?
Yeah, that's atmosphere, and that only happens during the hot, humid months.
Right.
And still,
On a
the
cold
picture,
day, that doesn't happen.
right? Ask the people who live there. That lake is flat, just like every other lake is flat. It's just an optical illusion with those power lines that appear to be going down because of the humidity.
Right. So again, look how long that picture has such life to it. That picture won't stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're still resorting to that picture as some sort of
They
proof.
cling to those. They have so little. They have zero proof. They have so little they can cling to. That's one of them. I've seen that picture 1,000 times the past year.
I know.
And the other BS about the measuring the size of the earth. So one was like the lunar eclipses also allowed for another key understanding about our home, where on earth in 3rd century BC, Aristarchus of Samos reasoned he could figure out the size of the earth based on the information available during the lunar eclipse. Yeah, they're trying to measure the shadow. The diagram at the night, they had few diagrams to try to explain their bullshit. The large circle is the sun, the medium circle is the earth, and the smallest circle is the moon.
Yeah, but their cartoon diagrams are awesome. I mean, they have so many cartoon diagrams that almost make me change my mind and go back to believing in a globe again. I mean, it's every time they want to show something as a proof, it's a cartoon. I mean, it's a cartoon every single time, and I just laugh, and I'm like, hey, you're trying to, compare what I'm observing in reality with a cartoon diagram in a textbook. That just doesn't work. Go out in the real world and start looking. Like where I live, and I've used this on the podcast lots of times. Where I live, I can look down 27 miles down the coast from the shoreline, and I can see condos standing straight up in New Smyrna Beach, 27 miles away. I would never see those condos. They're not even that tall. But on a clear day, I see them standing right there.
That's great. Hey, Keith, have you ever seen like a storm off in the horizon somewhere?
All
like
the time.
An isolated cloud just pouring rain?
All the time, yeah.
And it's straight down, right?
Yep.
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 I saw that a few times when I lived in Florida. It's pretty amazing. Like you see a storm like 20 miles away, because Florida's almost totally flat. You could get on top of a 2-story building and see forever in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A little exaggerated, but
the lightning storms out there on the ocean are awesome too. I love standing on the beach watching the lightning.
right.
You know what I think what's happening here, because apart from this measuring because of the lunar eclipse, this earth being between the sun and the moon, and by measuring the shadow, they are measuring the size of the earth. These are bullshit. Then they also had the Eratosthenes, and his bullshit experiment also wasn't. What it looks like is that these people recently created all this bullshit and just showed them as Greeks. This is what it looks like.
Yeah,
because the science they're speaking about is so childish. Because the importance of all the luminaries and all the sun and the moon and all the cycles, the understanding they have, they wouldn't make all these bullshit conclusions. Okay, and they won't have that representation of the closed system and everything and the pillars.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah, I think if the truth was known, all of this bullshit that they've made up is very, very recent. I don't give it to a Jesuit priest from 500 years ago. I give it to somebody trying to control humanity today within the last 120, 150 years, maybe. And you're right, Vikka. It's so childish. I mean, if you actually have the ability to use reason and logic and common sense, you start seeing through the bullshit real quick.
You do. Somewhere, come on, guys, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere, there's got to be a red flag for everybody at this point. If not, I can't imagine where you live.
Yeah. If not, they're just blinded by bias. They've been brainwashed with something, and they just believe it, and they can't see anything that contradicts it.
Nah, but I mean, there's everything. It's not just one area. It's
or it makes
everything.
them mad, so they can't face it or something.
That's that's a good point, because it is. It's a hard reality, and it's probably
they
more
didn't try
comfortable.
very hard. Cover it up.
Nah, they don't care anymore.
No,
they're done covering it up. They don't even care, obviously. Right? No, but it is. It's probably just a lot more comfortable to kind of close your eyes, look the other way, go about your business. For some people,
if they don't see it or hear it on TV, it's not real for them. I mean,
right.
I posted a little picture on Facebook yesterday or the day before, and it was a balcony somewhere, like outside of someone's apartment, and they had the Ukraine flag hanging on it. They had a Black Lives Matter hanging on it, and they had a picture of Fauci calling him a hero on it. All of that is mainstream media bullshit, every bit of it. You got a made-for-TV war. You've got Black Lives Matter, which is just continuing to keep the country divided by race. And then you've got Fauci, who was wrong about everything. Everything he claimed for the last 2 years was wrong. So, I mean, but here they are on their house where they live. They're promoting 3 of the biggest scams or hoaxes of the time we live in.
Waving banners all over the place. Another division tactic too, though.
Yeah.
Who you support and who you don't. Jeez.
The left and right is ridiculous. I mean, I used to be more right wing, and I actually hoped that maybe Trump was right. But like I said, after learning more about flat Earth and realize, holy shit, they're lying about everything. I mean, I will never vote again. I mean, I wasted my time for a lot of years of my life trying to figure out the best person to vote for. But the bottom line is this: the system is broken, and you can't fix the system with the system.
Ain't that the truth?
This is the both sides is the same bullshit. I think the red and the blue, right? The
Yeah.
people have to be purple, no red and the blue, you know. So, okay, let's get back to the topic. So we have the also Aristotle had his cosmic model. In his model, according to these liars, you know. So each of these four elements, earth, water, fire, and air, had a weight. Earth was the heaviest, water less so, and air and the fire the lightest. According to Aristotle, the lighter substance move away from the center of the universe, and the heavier elements settled into the center. While these elements attempted to sort themselves out, to achieve this order, most of the experience involved mixed entities. While we have seen earth, fire, air, and water, everything else in the world in this system was understood as a mixture of these elements. In this perspective, transition and change in our world resulted from mixing of the elements. For Aristotle, the terrestrial is a place of birth and death. Based on these elements, the heavens are separated realm governed by their own rules. Yeah, so they mix it. They mix the truth with the lies, like how all these new teachers and all these Carl Sagan and all they were doing with trying with all of the cosmology and trying to fit into their pseudoscience. That's what is happening exactly here too.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the analogy or whatever of rat poison, that 95% of the rat poison is actually rat food that's good for the rat, but that 5% kills the rat. And that's kind of the world or matrix that we live in, is that just 5% of the bullshit, of the lies that we've been fed, kind of kills creativity. It kills our spirituality. And if you can just start questioning things like, is this really true? Is what I was taught to believe and what I believe now, is that really true? And just see where that leads you. That one question is this true, is a good question to ask a lot. I mean, a lot of the time.
That's a
Oh
good
yeah.
analogy, Keith. I like that analogy. Puts things into perspective.
Crazy.
A lot of people like, so what's wrong with? A lot of people like, so what's wrong with, watching the news or sports or whatever? It's like, well, I can explain it to you, but you're not going to want to hear it.
Yeah, you can't explain it to some people. I had a conversation out here at my property around a bonfire last week with somebody that I've known for years, and we went on for about 2 hours about flat Earth, and they just could not grasp anything.
Not even water?
No, they couldn't grasp the natural physics of water or nothing. They had this excuse and that excuse, and of course it boiled down to their beliefs.
Wow. I don't understand how water bends, guys. I thought that was going to be a home run.
You got to love it when they show you a water droplet. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Now put a rock inside that water droplet and spin it and see what happens. Or put that water droplet in your swimming pool and see what happens.
Right.
But yeah, trying to use surface tension and compare it to a large body of water.
That's a good one. Trillions of gallons of water versus a drop.
Yeah.
Okay, so also there was a model about Ptolemy. We know about Ptolemy, right? Also,
was that the one that was called the celestial sphere? The one that you were just talking about with the elements, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So Claudius Ptolemy created a wealth of astronomical knowledge from his home in Alexandria, Egypt, benefiting from hundreds of years of observations from the time of Hipparchus and Eudoxus, as well as a set of astronomical data collected by the Babylons. Ptolemy developed a system for predicting the motion of the stars that was published in his primary astronomical work, Almagest. Ptolemy's success was synthesizing and refining ideas and improvements in astronomy helped make his Almagest so popular that earlier works fell out of circulation. Translated into Arabic and Latin, the Almagest became the primary astronomy text for the next thousands of years. Astronomy, yep. That's why it's so important, right? All these luminaries and the gods and their connection of connecting all these together. So Ptolemaic data. The Almagest is filled with tables. In this sense, the book is a tool one can use to predict the location of the stars compared to earlier astronomy. The book is much more focused on serving as a useful tool than presenting a system for describing the nature of the heaven. Trying to accurately predict the place of the stars over time resulted in creating a much more complicated model. The Ptolemaic model. By the time Ptolemy, Greek astronomer, had proposed adding circles on the circular orbits of the wandering stars, the planets, the moon, and the sun, to explain their motion. Circular orbits or circles. These circles on circles are called epicycles. In the Greek tradition, the heavens were a place of perfect circular motion. How the hell they're going to think the Earth is a sphere going through space? If they're speaking about perfect cycles and perfect circles. Oh yeah, because Ptolemy's model is geocentric, right? So they let the information about that, but they say no, he wasn't right. Yeah, they're using the most of his science.
That's hysterical. But he was wrong.
I think they're, even though they say stuff is elliptical today, they're still using Ptolemy's circles to discover the distances and the alleged speeds that they
Exactly
are moving. They're saying this, well, it's elliptical, but the science they use is still for the circles from Ptolemy. And then these retrograde motions that we see. I mean, you guys have seen this. I think maybe we talked about this on the Vedic Cosmology podcast, that if you could get high enough, far enough away from the Earth and look down, all of these wandering stars that people call planets, they make like these cool spirograph patterns over the surface of our flat Earth. Ultimately, it's still a circle, but they go backwards and forward, like the spirograph game we all played with when we were kids. And it's a very, very beautiful design. Almost reminds me of like the flower of life, or the what is that called? That somebody help me. You know what I'm talking about? The flower.
Oh,
the flower of life.
Yeah, flower of life. But the planets,
Like the mandala.
Yeah,
like the mandala.
the sacred, the geometry they make. Yeah.
Yep.
It also matches some of the church windows, the chymatics in the church windows.
Yeah.
Patterns. They'll correlate, they're related.
Some of the architecture itself looks like it was frequencied into the big cathedrals.
Right.
You mean they didn't use hammers and chisels and candlelight to do all that?
Right.
They had wooden
I
chisels.
still believe me.
Water chisels. There you go.
Wooden.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to add that, Keith, because if you take a circle and you put another circle in the middle or somewhere else, the hand sign these people make, which looks like not like a pyramid, but looks like a Pisces sign, right? It's the first interaction of two circles of the luminaries, and if you continue that, it becomes the flower of life. And then you have the seed of life, and you have all the sacred geometry patterns, but these all are representing the movement of the luminaries above. Okay, that's why those designs are so powerful, and they have that energy, because the seed of life, the flower of life, the tree of life, right? But in reality, it's the circles. It's circles within circles that's creating that flower of life. And here we are speaking about circles, right?
And the wheel in the sky.
Exactly. So, to escape the complicated nature of this extensive number of circles, Ptolemy added a series of new concepts to accurately describe planetary motion. He needed to use eccentric circle. With the eccentric circle, the center of the planet's orbit would not be Earth, but would be instead be some other point. Ptolemy then needed to put the epicycle on another set of circles called deferent. So the planet moves on circle that moved on circular orbits. Ptolemy also needed to introduce equants, a tool that enabled the planets to move at different speeds as they moved around these circles. The resulting model was complex, but it had extensive predictive power. Why predictive? Because it's all circles and cycles repeated over time.
Yeah, I
Which
think
can't happen on heliocentric model in a big bang of random chaotic motion that's ever expanding into nothing.
that's how the Greeks knew about the eclipses 2,000 years ago. They could predict the eclipses very accurately because they knew that it ran on a cycle. The circles and cycles, makes perfect sense in my mind. The heliocentric explosion of disorder and chaos, that makes no sense. When you actually look at what we observe in the sky, the heliocentric hypothesis is complete nonsense.
Oh, it sure is. Every last bit of it. And it's small cycles and then bigger cycles too. So sun makes a cycle, well, the moon makes a cycle slowest, and then, well, it's the fastest of the planets, but so the planets, stars, they all make their separate cycles, and they all
I think
repeat each other.
the fixed stars allegedly, rotate the fastest over us all together in perfect unison, and then the sun, and then the moon, who is the slowest. But then you've got the planets that are, the wandering stars. They're all on their individual circuits. I think they kind of speed up and slow down in their retrograde motions and their forward motions, just depending on how they were designed, whoever designed them, whatever designed them. I mean, to me, I can't look at this place and say that it's not intelligently designed, because it works with extreme precision, and these circles and these cycles repeat, at certain set times. I'm sitting outside right now looking at the stars, and where the stars are in the sky right now, they were in the exact same place last year, and they'll be in the exact same place next year as they are tonight.
And never shift position, like we were talking before about the parallax. When things further away move slower than the things in the foreground as you're moving by. That always bothered me as a kid too, though. The stars never change position. It drove me nuts as a space fan.
Oh yeah, in the end, it's the same. It's even if these people try to twist it and make people believe, same like they try to do with Sumerians and all different cosmologies, they try to do the same thing. Even with the Vedics and in many other cosmologies, they try to contaminate and change the narrative. You can see that pattern in everywhere. Everywhere you can see that. And we, by discussing and researching all these cosmologies we've been doing, we can see deeper that what is the real message from these cosmologies, what the real, according to the creation stories, and what the real shape of the earth was according to them, right? These people sell all this bullshit about even the Greeks, But if you research, they're going to show you the geocentric model. And we said, no, if it's geocentric, it have to be stationary also, right? Or no?
Yeah, I don't see any other way you can look at it. I mean, if you look at everything else moving in perfect order, repeating itself on cycles, I mean, how could we possibly be moving along with that? I mean, we don't see movement. Every scientific experiment, some of them very precise, that has tried to measure and prove the motion of the Earth, all of them have proven the opposite. They've all proven that the Earth doesn't move at all. And all the ancient texts that we have talks about the Earth, and I'm sure the Greeks too talk about it being on pillars. That
Yeah.
it's fixed. It's not. It doesn't move. It will never move. Whoever again back to the intelligent design. Whoever designed the system designed it as a perfect system, and the pillars or the columns make a lot more sense to me than us being a spinning wet rock in outer space controlled by a magical force called gravity. It just everything I was taught as a child about the universe and the earth and the moon and the planets and the sun, and all of it is ludicrous now. Looking back, I was like, how did I, even as a kid, how did I buy all that? How did I believe all that? Because we were taught not to question it, but I look at it now just after a few years of actually researching reality and see, man, how does anybody buy into this? But I have to remember, I used to be one of them. I used to buy into it too.
It's fascinating to kids, the whole story. Dinosaurs, outer space, rockets, and Mars. It's great as a little kid.
Dinosaurs, dinosaurs is the source of Odin. Is the anagram for dinosaurs. Is the source of Odin. It's all have meanings. Okay, to play with the energies, with to control. So the source of Odin, dinosaurs.
That's
The
great.
Garden of Eden is an anagram for dragon of Odin. Okay? It's all for the show. It's all for the show. They want to divide us. They want to keep us indoctrinated. They want to keep us ignorant. They want to keep us by having all this right in front of our faces. That's why they also everything else for them in the hopes to sell their own belief and religion. They demonize the others. Okay, I wanted to also, I said earlier in the podcast that I wanted to define what is the real word pagan. The word pagan is actually a slur and should not be used nonchalantly. The people who came up with the term pagans are the same people who persecuted and even offed our early scientists, the true scientists. Before these scientists fought back and established the modern science of today. So basically, the word pagan would actually mean people who use their own mind and think for themselves. People who do not blindly follow whatever they have been told to. This is the real meaning. Okay? But it's nothing. It's all interconnected. Nobody's freaking pagan and nobody's whatever you want to call it. We all are freaking human and we all are learning and studying and from each other and sharing the same thing in a different way, singing the same tune in a different way. That's what it is. Because if that's what the real meaning of pagan is, to think for yourself, to be scientific, to be investigative, and not believe everything that's been fed to you. That's what really pagan means. And what the hell they're trying to demonize then? And what are they trying to sell, right? As I mentioned, home. Somebody say the word home slowly, but stretch it out. What does it sound? Om, right? Home is where the heart is, right? So Om is the sound, the first sound that was created. Now, do you become demonic because you love your home? No, it's just the misinformation that everything else is not good. Yours the only good and yours the only right. No, because it's a freaking ripoff of everything around. That's it. That's what it is. And we have discussed many. We have discussed the Babylonian, we have discussed the Romans, we have discussed the Hebrew, the Arabic, the Celtic, the Slavic, the Norse, the Sumerian, the Mayan, the Buddhist, the Greek, the Vedic. And what does it say? We made the connection. We joined the dot between all of them, didn't we? And how they are interconnected.
Yeah, that's been the cool thing of all these podcasts the last few months is the similarities, not just in the cosmologies, but the similarities in the creation stories as well, and how one might rip off the other one, but ultimately they're so similar. So for any of us to get on a soapbox and say my way is the right way, and the way I see God, or the way I see Jesus, or anybody, or Allah, the way I see these people is right, and people who don't see it like me are wrong. I mean, I think that's part of this, the lies and the bullshit, is they're trying to get people to believe stuff that they don't even know if it's true or not. They just believe it, and their ego attaches to it. And now I'm right and you're wrong. And if you don't believe like me, you're going to hell. But I mean, that's all modern day bullshit. When we look at all the ancient cosmologies that we have and all the creation stories, and we see the similarities, that's more important to me, to focus on those things instead.
Exactly, brother, because this is the thing. Elohim is I am Helio. It's the same thing. Okay, it's the anagram. Okay, the word, because as I mentioned also to some people, right? What did Jesus used to speak? Jesus didn't used to speak English. Okay, they say Jesus used to speak Aramaic. Aramaic is very similar to Arabic and Hebrew. Okay, and in Aramaic, the word for God is Allah. In Hebrew, it's Ilah. It's Elohim. So the word is right there. Elohim, Ilah, Allah, I'm Helio. It's all the same. So there is no difference. There is no division. Just look into it. So this goes with everything. We have related and connected most of these cosmologies. Most of them. Even the Zoroastrian. Okay? Maybe Stephanie can add to this about the Prince of Meset. You know about that? That have relation with the Christ and Abrahamic, that he blessed Abraham to become that. You have any idea about that, Stephanie? About the Zoroastrians?
There was
The Prince of
Angermanu.
Mezigeltek, or how is that?
Well, I remember Ahura Mazda was the good entity.
The one of the main gods, yeah.
And Angermanu was like the negative entity. I don't remember much of the story.
Yeah, so there's also one called Prince of, I cannot pronounce the name exactly, but later I would share it in the chat. that it's part of the Zoroastrian, and it shows the connection of also the Christianity with that, with the connection of Abraham and everything. So in the end, it's all related. We also spoke about the Christ Krishna connection, the Brahma Saraswati connection, the Abraham
yeah, they're all
Sarah
connected.
connection, and there are many, the Zeus. So I'm going to give one last example, and then we're going to have our final thoughts for the show, and we're going to wrap up, because uh, if not, it could have gone much more longer. There would have been more things to discuss, but I wanted to mention something. So as we connected most of these ancient cosmologies, being it Indo-European or Slavic or Celtic or Buddhist or Norse or Sumerians or Babylonian. So as we are speaking about the Greeks, I want to add one last connection there between the Greeks and the Vedics, because the Greeks were really important too, right? We are really important even today in a way of their knowledge, right? Okay, so the connection between the Greeks and the Vedics is that when we speak about Vedic gods, we think of Shiva, Vishnu, Kali, Brahma, and many more other gods, right? But there is a Vedic god that many even don't know about. Like, his name is Dyaus Peter. I'll spell it Dyuas. Dyaus Peter. Pitr. Okay. Dyaus Peter is father of all gods, as mentioned in the Rig Veda, whose son is Indra. Indra is the king of all gods, who wields the power of lightning and thunder. With his Vajra. Vajra is like kind of a metal that is above these Tibetan bells. It has that power of frequency or something. So it was as a weapon called Vajra. And these gods had uncanny similarities with Zeus Peter. You know who Zeus Peter? Zeus. Okay, the Greek god Zeus. Peter, the Roman god Jew. Peter is the same thing. And this god was called Dyaus Peter. And Zeus Peter is also supposed to be the father of all Greek gods, right? And have the same power of lightning and thunder as Indra. As Zeus lives on a Mount Olympus, Indra lives on Mount Meru. Both are known for killing massive dragons like serpents. Indra killed Vitsura, and Zeus killed Typhon. Where Amrit is a cultural drink which gave immortality to the devas and the gods, the Olympian drink Ambrosia gives immortality to the Greek gods. So, the Hindu god or the Vedic god Yamaraj and the Greek god Hades are also the same. Both are rulers of the hell and underworld. Yamaraj is the Vedic god from hell, have got two guard dogs named Shavara. Shavara is Sharvara, Shavara, and Shaima, Shyama, Shaima. Okay, these two dogs. And Hades have a multi-headed guard dog named Cerberus, Cerberus, Cerberus. Shavara or Cerberus is the same thing. When Romans conquered the Greece, they renamed Hades as Pluto. The Vedic name for Pluto is Yama. Graha. Graha means planet, and Yama means the same, the god of the hell. So it's related with the Pluto. So the Greek god Poseidon and the Vedic god Varuna is the same. Both are gods of the ocean. In Roman culture, Poseidon is known as Neptune, and in Vedic, the Neptune is called as Varuna. So it's the same words being playing around, okay? The same thing. So you can draw the connections there. These are just a few many similarities between ancient Greeks and the Vedics, okay? But according to Rig Veda, there was a great battle among 10 major clans, and the battle was called Das Ragnaya. Das means 10. Ragnaya, for sure, it definitely means kind of a war. This war was called Das Ragnaya among 10 major clans, in which Bharata king Sudas, Bharata is right now is the real name of India. I think could be because of this, because he won that battle. So this king named Bharata, King Sudas, defeated the rest of the clans and banished them from that land. The defeated clans moved out of the country to different directions, and one clan called Alina, that's spelled Alina, Alina, moved westward and settled in what we know today as Greece. Over the time, due to language distortions, Vedic god Dyaus Peter became Zeus Peter for Greeks, Jupiter for the Romans. So the Alina clan became the Hellenic people. The official name of Greece is the Hellenic Republic. Okay, I'm not making up nothing here, guys. Okay, I'm just trying to connect the dots. Okay, it's so obvious. It's there in every word. Okay, it's all the same. The same because the root information is the same, because all is one. Religion wise, world wise, belief wise, spirituality wise, in every wise. Okay, and the information is the same, and the truth is the same that we have to perceive, which is not really happening. Okay. So don't tell me what is the correct and what is not correct, because it's all freaking same. Because this is the thing, or one destination can have various routes. All the routes will take you to that destination. Okay, they may have different landscape, they may have different views, but it's going to take you to that destination. And there is not only one right way and the only way. Okay, it doesn't exist, because every way is correct, because it's taking you to the destination. So, all right, guys, we're going to have last thoughts and we're going to be wrapping up.
I'll go first. Vikka, thank you. And you are such a good pagan. I'm glad to be one with you. I had not known the correlation you had put on that word, or the definition of pagan, of being someone who thinks independently, or, you know, whatever they're trying to do. They're definitely trying to get people to be obedient to the system, or obedient to the matrix, to, you know, like the Operation Mockingbird that's been going on for decades on the news and the TV. And just all the media companies just wanting people to think like zombies or like bots or whatever you want to call them. If pagan means you're someone who thinks independently and you question things, then hey, put me down as one too. I'm a pagan as well. So Vikka, another good show. I'll have to go back and listen to the first half, and I look forward to being with you guys again real soon.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. That's what I would say. That is the real meaning of pagan, to think for yourself and not take whatever the people feed you, to respect the nature, to respect all your fellow human beings, love the nature, respect everybody's ideas, views, belief. If that is paganism, all right. Who wants to go next? Thank you, brother, for being here, Keith. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad I could.
I'll go.
Yeah, I'll say goodnight, everybody.
Go
It was a great show, Vikka. What an awesome presentation. Blew my mind again. Hard to keep track of all this stuff. I can tell you that. That's for sure. The connections between all of them. There's more connections than there aren't connections. How they all have us in an enclosed system with the heaven, the realm, the underworld, on pillars. It's amazing. And I don't know how people can hear both sides of how these people lived and what they built back then and what they were talking about in reference to what we're talking about. And then we look at today's society and how everything's so completely changed. And if you compare the buildings alone, I don't think too many buildings are going to be around for as long as some of the ancient buildings are now. They're unmaintained and they're still standing for thousands of years. And we wouldn't have that with the buildings in today's society. That's no way. So it's proof we're going backwards, and we're kind of falling for it as progression, and it's really not. So hopefully we'll be able to take hold of this information and pass it around and come up with some ideas on how to get a hold of the things that they are hiding from us, because we could figure it out if we keep talking to each other and not pay attention to the news, because people do get along. We can get along fine. And, kids don't have prejudice and hatred like grown-ups learn to forget too, right? So, no, it's great to be here with everybody. Thanks, everyone, for coming on the panel and to the show, and everybody in the chat. My buddies out there, Dr. Frankenstein, good to see you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. And have a great week, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and great show, Vikka. Excellent time, brother.
Oh yeah, thanks, Jeannie, for being here. Awesome, bro. Yeah, it's all the same.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It was an awesome topic. There was a lot of stuff I learned. The one thing that we didn't get to talk about that I thought was neat was when Hermes and Hera made the Milky Way with breast milk. But no, I really enjoyed talking to you all, and it's been great watching all the dots connect with every single podcast you do. So thank you for the opportunity. And Jean, Keith, Evelyn, and Vikka, it was nice to be here.
Thank you, Stephanie, for being here. It was great to have you, and your support also. Thanks for that. And yeah, we only scratched the surface. We were just scratching surface a bit of everything, a little bit. We didn't even go deeper. So definitely in the future we would.
Yeah, really good to see you, Stephanie. Welcome, and I hope you come back soon.
Oh yeah. Evelyn, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. Can you
So
hear
your
me?
last words?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. One of my favorite topics, all the mythology from Greece and all the correlations that you find in the scriptures. Because coming from the biblical side, I look for confirmation where I can in the scriptures and the Bible, and I think that Rob Skipper did a very good job of breaking all those down, all the correlations and explaining everything. So I'll be putting a link of from his YouTube channel, and just check out his conferences. And he's also got a playlist for for globe. What was it? Um, uh, for explaining the no, what was it now? Um, anyway, for um, testing the globe. That was it. He's got a playlist named "Testing the Globe," where they actually go out and test for curvature and other known facts. So yeah, it was a fun subject. So I hope to see you next week.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Evelyn, for being here. Awesome. All right, guys. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Yes, Greek cosmology, no difference than any other what we discussed. All pointing to the same thing. Yeah, it's a geocentric, stationary, flat realm. In every color, in every way we could get that information, and we got from all these cosmologies, and we even connected them all together. So I think it turned out really, really awesome. So it's the same time we have to be more connected and more united in a way as humans, and not let these elites succeed in making us see more differences than similarities, because that's the real agenda. Because if that changes, everything changes, because it's more important for us to respect everyone's belief, and be more compassionate, more gratitude with our fellow human beings, whatever their way of life is, right? Or the way of seeing or connecting to this ultimate source, right? We need to respect, and that's, I think, the only way out, with love and compassion. So, because the road to heaven is not sin to salvation, it's ignorance to enlightenment. Okay, thank you everybody for being here. Make sure you guys check us out next week in the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Jean, Stephanie, Keith, and everybody in the chat. A big shout out to everyone for being here. Make sure you guys be here next week. Bye. This is Vikka Draziv signing out. Bye, guys.
Good night.
Nice.
Good night, everybody.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.